Welcome to the Retrograde season special. Okay, so let's start with the Jupiter retrograde, which started on the 9th of October 2024 and carries on right through until the 4th of February 2025. So when you consider the planet Jupiter, it's about expansion, expanding our horizons, like long distance travel, higher learning, and also our beliefs of the great, like our bigger picture beliefs, like so our world views, our thoughts about spirituality, our thoughts about all sorts of like different things, that is like bigger picture, not just like day-to-day lives. Also, you have to bear in mind that Jupiter this time is in Gemini, and Gemini is very much a social sign, so it's about lots of people. It's about communication and stuff like that as well. So there will be elements of wanting to maybe retreat away from people, maybe changes in our social circle. So if we were expanding our social circle previously to the retrograde, we might suddenly want to retreat a bit from these new people and sort of like go back towards old friends. We might find that our spiritual beliefs and our views and things have changed from the people that we used to mix with, and so this sort of like going back will sort of like show us our growth and our changes in our mindsets in that respect. So yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting time, and it like happens, you know, like the sort of holiday season, if you think about that. So you got like you know, like a lot of people will be traveling back home to their families and to their loved ones. So we do tend to be going back to, you know, like older friend groups which we haven't seen so much, or family member like we haven't seen so much. So it does change our social circles. So that's how it kind of plays out. Also, you have to think about it. So like long distance travel. So if you've made like plans to travel long distance to go new places, probably will find you not going to be going to those new places. If you've made plans to go back to places you've visited before, then it's more likely to probably go ahead. So yeah, that's kind of the Jupiter retrograde for this like retrograde season in a nutshell. Okay, so next we're going to look at Mars, and then with Mars being with Mars being a personal planet, it's more likely to affect us on a personal level. So the pre-shadow, so with the inner planets, you tend to notice the shadow periods as well more than the outer planets. So with the pre-shadow starting on the 5th of October 2024, and the actual retrograde itself not starting until the 5th or 6th of December 2024. And then it goes on all the way through into the new year, goes direct on the 24th of February, and the shadow period finally ends on the 2nd of May 2025. So this is like a long 7-month period where when you consider Mars is the planet of motivation, it's a planet of action taking, it is a planet of you know, like drive, ambition. It can also be our physical body, our physical ability to like movement, stuff like that. So it can be like sharp objects. It's really not a good idea to have like an operation during this time. So yeah, it can be also to do with like your vehicle, your car, because it's like it's movement, it's action, although not necessarily, but these are all the things that can be affected by a Mars retrograde. So there's likely to be a feeling of just like a lack of motivation during these times. And when you think about the winter months and we sort of like go inward and we don't want to go out as much, but it's almost like there's a physical, maybe we could be stopped from going out. Maybe the weather's just so bad we can't go out, or it's just, you know, like maybe thick snow or bad rain, or, you know, like floods. There could be something that is in the weather that stops us from getting out and about, and but it could be just like a lack of motivation. So it's things like, you know, like our day-to-day jobs, the things that we do, if we suddenly lose the motivation to do them, this Mars retrogrades could push us in the right direction to like realign to something we do want to do. Give us that sort of like this is really not what I want to do so badly that we take action to do something different after post the like Mars retrograde. We like really reconsider our actions of what we do and what we're motivated towards, what we're driven towards. I have known in instances where it has been in somebody's like sun sign or their horizon sign, the Mars retrograde, that they have physically become it's been physically difficult for them to like walk or get about. So it can affect you like physically in that respect. Not everyone, I mean that's just rare cases, but I have known it to happen. So yeah, it can be all sorts of things like that. But Mars retrogrades, they only happen sort of like every 18 months, 2 years ish. They don't happen every year. And yeah, but it does take a lot. It's quite a long transit, so it is 7 months of just things not quite moving forward. So if you're pushing forward and like trying to force like something into action, trying to launch something, trying to start something up, this is really not a good time to start something or launch something or like try and push forward. With Mars in Cancer, we also have to remember this time round, so it goes through into Leo. The actual retrograde starts in Leo, it moves back into Cancer, between 17 degrees of Cancer and 6 degrees of Leo is where the retrograde will happen. So if you have planets or anything in those signs at those degrees or between those degrees, this will probably most likely affect you. So yeah, with it being so Leo can be about leadership. So it's likely that at the start of the retrograde there will be a change in the leadership, or there will be something happen with a leader. There's been a lot of that this year, but it's likely that there will be something where there will be a sudden taking back power or removing somebody from power in that respect. Then with it being in Cancer, Mars in Cancer is just like you can't really push forward. If you push forward, you just kind of go sideways like a crab. So you kind of go in with the flow more. And in Mars retrogrades, you really do have to just like let things flow a bit more, not push forward, but just let go with that flow and find the flow and go with it. Okay, so the next planet we're going to look at is the personal planet also, and it's Venus. It's a benefic planet as well. So Venus will go retrograde right at the very start of 2025. So the shadow period starts on the 28th of January, and then it goes through to retrograde on the 2nd of March, all the way through to the 13th of April, and then the shadow ends on the 16th of May. And so what we have to consider with the planet Venus, so it's a sign that represents partnerships, relationships, and there does tend to be, unfortunately, a lot of breakups around the time of Venus retrogrades. People reconsidering their relationships and the things that they want from the relationships, maybe finding that they're just not compatible as they thought they were. But it can also be about beauty. So if you're thinking of like having a new haircut or changing your hair colour or doing something drastic with your looks, changing your wardrobe, you might want to reconsider, because it's likely that you, after the retrograde's finished, you just won't like those things. You won't like your hair or whatever. It'll all change. It can be about like beauty. So it's like beauty, aesthetics. It can be like the home decor, things that you like the look of and things you don't like the look of. It will change during a Venus retrograde. But when you think of Venus also, it's about money and finances, and that tends to be quite a big thing during a Venus retrograde, where there could be a sudden like recession, or that a banking issue or something quite serious and significant could happen in like the monetary, I don't know, markets and finances and all those sorts of issues. So it's really good to have like, also like the way you earn money yourself personally could change. There could be like like a loss of a job, or there could be just like a cutting down of hours, or something happens where you miss some work, you have to have time off work, and you miss money, you miss pay. Various different ways that can work, but So if you like receive benefits, that could be like cut, or there could be things where it's cut. Money isn't as like the money that you were getting as an income will like alter somehow, it will change. So it's always good prior to a Venus retrograde to make sure you have plenty of money put aside just in case you were to need it. So like I say, that's happening at the start of next year. So like by January, you need to sort of like have a little bit of money maybe put aside, because there's always like a little change of something, or something can happen around the money markets, banking, finances, all those sorts of things. It could be like rate changes if you've got like loans and stuff like that, interest rates and stuff like that. It could just be, it's hard to predict, but there's always something with money that I've found like is affected very much by a Venus retrograde. So this time round it will be going retrograde in Aries and moving back into Pisces from 10 degrees of Aries all the way back to 24 degrees of Pisces. So if you have planets or angles in those signs and within those degrees, this will affect you the most, and also where it falls in your birth chart. But so when you think about, Pisces can be very much about our values as well, so, and our spiritual values and stuff like that. So there's likely to be a change in people's values, what they value, maybe on a spiritual level, maybe on a personal level. With it going back into Aries, it's like our personal values. So it's likely that we will have a period of time where we reassess those things, the personal values, and our spirituality and stuff like that as well. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos about this retrograde season and more astrology videos to come. Thank you.